Nariman Behravesh has worked for the Fed and is one of the most accurate forecasters of the U.S. economy, making him a Bloomberg Best economist. He is the chief economist at IHS. Nariman, always great to have you in the loop. So what you're saying, if I get this right, is that you're talking about sort of a gradual shift versus this fiscal cliff that he's been talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, the issue is, as incompetent as Congress is, there's nobody up on Capitol Hill that wants to be blamed for killing the economy. So what they'll figure something out about phasing sort of out, if you will, the Bush tax cuts and phasing in, as you said, the spending increases, spending cuts. And so, you know, from that perspective, it's not going to, I mean, whatever solution they come up with, we're not sure exactly how they're going to do it, but it's not going to kill the recovery next year or even the year after. So
despite those dire warnings, you're pretty confident that Congress will somehow come together with that type of compromise then?
Yeah. I mean, basically the message from Bernanke to Congress is, you know, get your act together. You know, you can play a big role here instead of just being so focused on the election that you're saying, well, you know, we can't do anything. So I think that's the message, at least part of the message yesterday.
And I believe, Nariman, at your house there at IHS, you believe that there is a high probability, and I wonder if you heard this from Ben Bernanke yesterday, a high probability that we will see Operation Twist extended. Did you get any more sense from that after hearing Bernanke yesterday?
Not really. I think we've gotten a sense of that from some of the other members of the FOMC, Janet Yellen in particular, but others, that you know, there's a lot of pressure building to do something more. And just extending Twist would be a way of signaling, well, you know, we're willing to do something more, but not going that extra step of, let's say, QE3 or anything like that, or anything more aggressive. I think what they want to do is they want to keep their powder dry unless and until things get a lot worse in Europe.
Well, what would extending Operation Twist really do effectively?
Well, all it is, in a sense, it's like an insurance policy is all it is. In a way, all it does is by not taking it away, as it were, you continue the current policies. You're not, in effect, kind of tightening, if you will. Because if they take it away, then de facto, they're really tightening. So essentially what's going to happen is they're going to say, we're not going to tighten it. We're going to just extend this.
All right, and we're there, as Bernanke said yesterday, we're there at the ready if the economy deteriorates. And Nariman, you know, as I mentioned, you've been at the Fed, you've been an economist for over 35 years. You know, between now and November, are you one of those who believes that the Fed needs to act now, and that the longer it takes to implement QE3, the less the Fed is able to do it because it's not able to, you know, it doesn't want to look as if it's, you know, influencing the outcome of the elections. Do you subscribe to that view?
I think the Fed can move quickly if it needs to. It has in the past. So I'm not worried about that. I think the Fed's right to sort of hold off a little bit. Most of the risks in terms of the U.S. are from outside the U.S., and there's a lot of uncertainty about that. And most of that risk is coming from Europe. So I think right now, taking a wait-and-see attitude seems to be like the most sensible policy.
But you don't think that the November elections will have any influence about whether or not the Fed would act?
It's a little hard to say. I mean, I think it's naive to say the Fed, you know, doesn't react to political pressure. But on the other hand, I think at this point, the decision they've made is a reasonable one. I don't think it's being influenced by political considerations.
Specifically, Nariman, though, what do you think Bernanke and his colleagues have to see in order to act? What set of numbers do they have to see before they act?
Well, certainly on the U.S. side, if we start to see really weak employment numbers, even negative numbers, they'll move. And if in Europe, which again is probably the single biggest threat facing the U.S., if there's some kind of a meltdown there, a banking crisis, then they'll act.
Okay, and when you say negative numbers, I mean, you mean obviously we see job losses, but even the jobless rate moving up, I believe you said above 8.4%, that might be a trigger.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I think, thanks for the clarification. Yeah, I agree. If the unemployment rate keeps rising for the next few months, absolutely, they'll move.
Okay, Nariman, thank you so much. Great to see you again, Nariman Behravesh, the chief economist at IHS.